It's Retro Podcast with your host, Retro Lion. We talk music, entertainment, films, and more. And now, here he is, live, Retro Lion. Thanks. Welcome back to Retro Podcast. I am the host, Retro Lion, and today we have Christopher Showerman with us today, and he is going to talk about his acting career. Christopher, welcome to Retro Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
How was your summer?
Summer was great. It was very hot. I'm in California, and we had a pretty mild summer until the very end, and then it really cranked up. But it was exciting for me because I got to work on a couple of exciting projects over the summer, live projects. I did The Music Man. I played Harold Hill in The Music Man.
Nice.
And did another significant role in a project, a biography, a live biography about Doris Day.
Very cool. And in California, is it dry heat or is it sweat heat?
You know, traditionally it's always been a dry heat, but lately it's gotten a lot more muggy out here. So I don't know, things are changing.
I'm in Ohio. There's sweat heat. Although today
Yes.
we finally have fall weather.
Oh, hallelujah. Yeah, I grew up in Michigan, so I was your neighbor.
Nice.
First half of my life. Yeah. Yeah, very muggy there. I mean, that's real humidity.
What part of Michigan did you grow up in?
I was in mid-Michigan. I was in this tiny rural town called Stockbridge, which is mostly farmland. I think it took 3 little villages to make up my high school. And we were about halfway between Detroit and Lansing and Jackson. So kind of in the middle of rural bucolic Michigan.
Yeah, I grew up in a country land as well, and then I went to high school and college in the city, and then on weekends came back and forth because I worked in the small town that I was living in at the time.
Yeah.
So I had to go back and forth.
Oh, I think it's great to have small town roots. I mean, there's it's a solid community, and everybody knows everybody, which can be good or bad, but it's nice, to have extended family of this whole, town.
Definitely. And what fans may not realize is that you played a character in the Marvel show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And can you explain what that character was?
Yeah, so I was a Hydra soldier in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it was on an episode with what's her name, May. So we're doing her bidding. I wasn't a critical or a pivotal character, but it was great for me because that character, for whatever reason, got his own trading card. So I have a Marvel trading card of me now that it's just nice to have out there to say you've got a trading card.
Well, and you're part of the MCU.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Have you seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet?
I have. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic. I loved how they brought characters back that you'd all but forgotten about. I'm a big fan of Jennifer Garner, and it was great to see her come back as Elektra and her quips about Daredevil, which was very funny.
And it was great to see Blade again.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely think if Wesley Snipes dyed his goatee black, he would have looked exactly the same. I mean, don't get me wrong, he looks fantastic for 60, but if he dyed his goatee black, he would have, it would be hard to tell.
He's ageless. It's amazing. Yeah, he looked so good.
Me and my friend from work, we were talking about Spider-Man. We were talking about all 3 of the Spider-Mans and how they did Spider-Man to Spider-Verse, and then there was No Way Home. And we were saying how it's funny, and I did not know this, but according to Kevin Feige, they wanted to make Tom Holland's Spider-Man like a coming-of-age high school John Hughes film. Which was partly why they casted a younger Peter Parker, even though yes, he was already adult, but they casted to make it the appropriate age. But something I didn't realize was that Marissa Tomei's version of Aunt May was supposed to be 35, where versus in real life she was 60. And I was like, what? I mean, of course I knew she was. I mean, of course I know she's old because she was in My Cousin Vinny, and that came out in the 80s. But I didn't know her character was supposed to be 30. And one of my other coworkers interrupts, and because me and my supervisor were talking, and we were just like, okay, we just realized that you have a 60-year-old actress playing a 35-year-old character. That's creepy. And then my friend interrupts and she's like, "Are you talking about Aunt May?" And we were like, "Yes." And she's like, "That's how I want to look when I'm 60."
For sure. And as we start venturing into this brave new world of AI and generated actors, you can be any age now. I mean,
True.
they can take your voice and put it on, a 16-year-old Tom Hanks. They can do anything they want. It's crazy.
I watched Bullet Train for the first time, and when I found out Brad Pitt was 60, I was like, "That's how I want to look when I'm 60."
For sure. Exactly.
And speaking of AI, is it something that you were terrified of, or like, what are your thoughts on AI?
Well, it's a big topic. I feel like answer's no. No, I'm not terrified of it, but I feel like it is a game-changing technology, and we have those periodically along the way, and they always seem scary when they happen because it means change is coming, and nobody knows what change is going to look like. But as much as we try to fight it, and I'm a proud union member. I'm happy to be in SAG, and we've fought really hard to, you know, stem the wave of AI and try to control that within the contracts. It's coming. It's already here. I mean, there is some amazing AI stuff already happening, and it looks great, and it's easy, and you don't have to put up with we actors' egos. So you can just tell them what to do, and they do it. So it's hard to say what the end game will look like. I don't think anybody knows, but it's an exciting technology, and it is going to be a game-changing thing, not just in entertainment, in everything.
And speaking of AI, there was a SNL sketch where they were talking about AI, and this interviewer was interviewing a professor. And in the sketch, the professor gets distracted by these two guys that look like Beavis and Butthead, and Beavis is played by Ryan Gosling. Have you seen that skit by any
I
chance?
haven't seen the skit. I'll have to look it up though, because I love watching Ryan Gosling on SNL because he can never keep a straight face.
And that's what he does in this skit. Like, everyone can't hold it together except Kean Thompson. He just stays in character the whole time.
Oh, he's amazing. He's so good. He's the OG.
And speaking of actors, you were in George of the Jungle 2. You played George. You were the replacement for Brendan Fraser's character.
Yes.
And what was that experience getting to play his character?
It was phenomenal. I mean, what an incredible opportunity. And daunting too, because you're not only trying to live up to one, but two different ideals or standards. There's, of course, Brendan did a beautiful job creating that character in his 1997 version of George of the Jungle. But let's not forget, it's based on a cartoon, a Jay Ward cartoon from the late 60s. So there's all these ideas and ideals of what and who George should be. So trying to please the fans is almost impossible. You're always going to misstep somewhere along the way, or somebody won't like what you do. But it's okay. You go and play the truth. I had to go and play the truth of my George of the Jungle, and it was an amazing experience for me.
And what's amazing about this movie, because we were talking about Marvel earlier, is that you got to work with Sandman, Thomas Hayden Church, and then you also got to go to. Now, did you actually go to Vegas to shoot the Vegas scenes, or was it shot somewhere else?
You know what? Excellent question, and I have a fun answer for that too. So, all of my stuff was shot on the Gold Coast in Australia. So all of the live action stuff happened in Australia, but I was very close with everybody on set, and my good buddy Bill came to me. He's the VFX supervisor, and Bill said, "Do you want to come with me to Vegas and shoot these plates? Because we have to shoot all these background plates." He said, "There won't be anything for you to do, but you can hang out in Vegas." And I said, "That would be amazing. I'd love to." So I went out and hung out with Bill and his team as they went around, and we got, you know, unprecedented access to different parts of these Las Vegas iconic buildings. And we happened to be staying at the Four Seasons Hotel at the time. That's just, you know, where they put them up. And I was staying with Bill. And Bill Kent is an amazing VFX artist. So so I would stayed with him, and I happened to know that Brendan at the time was also staying in the Four Seasons in Vegas while he was shooting Looney Tunes Back in Action. And I thought it was just uncanny. It was just too impossible to have the both of us in the same building. So I wrote, and I never do this. I'm not a fanboy by any stretch, but I wrote a letter to him. You know, thank you for originating the role, and I hope I make you proud with what I did with where you left off. And I left it with the concierge, and I said, "Look, I realize I'm not a crazy fan. I am a fan, but I'm not a crazy fan. And I realize you probably can't get this to him, but if you could get this letter to Mr. Fraser, that would be amazing. I'd appreciate it. And if you can't, throw it away. I don't care. It's fine." And then I never thought about it again. And about 9 months later, I'm at a benefit. We're doing a benefit. The movie Dodgeball had just come out. And so we're doing this dodgeball benefit where it's celebrity dodgeball, and we're all playing dodgeball against each other. And I knew Brendan was going to be there, and I got there pretty early. And I'm in the gym where we're going to be playing this dodgeball tournament all by myself. And this guy comes up and goes, "Chris, hey, it's great to meet you. My name's Brendan." And he's this guy who's got a beanie on and a black t-shirt like I had on. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know who you are. How do you know who I am?" He said, "Hey, man, I got your letter in Vegas, but you didn't put your phone number on it, so I didn't know how to reach you." So yeah, 9 months later, I found out that my letter actually did make it to him. He was very sweet. We were on the same dodgeball team. He's a good dodgeball player, by the way. So that's my long-winded answer of if we went to Vegas or not.
Well, you never know what the future holds.
That's right.
And what was your biggest inspiration for wanting to go into acting?
You know, when I was 5 years old, I got to be in my first play. I was 5. I didn't even know what a play was. And I played the biggest billy goat in the Three Billy Goats crowd. And I was just winging it, as I still am. And I got to, knock my classmates off the bridge and protect them from the troll that lived under the bridge or whatever. I don't remember. But I remember everybody laughing and clapping and feeling this great feeling of, oh, wow, I'm entertaining. People are enjoying what I'm doing. And that is addictive. So that has never let go. I went into music after that because it's also performance, and have been performing ever since.
Nice. And what is the biggest advice you would pass on to folks who want to go into acting?
So depending on where you are and what kind of acting you want to go into, I think the first bit of advice is when you watch movies, when you are enjoying, because I'm assuming that if you want to go into acting, it's because you're inspired by other actors and movies and TV shows. So when you watch characters, start to think about that character's life and start to find the ways that that character justifies their choices. Because the bad guys in movies never think they're bad guys. Bad guys are just guys that are trying to make it through their day and do what they think is going to be best for them and their family, just like you and me. Mm-hmm. So finding ways to understand each other in movies and in real life makes you a better actor by trying to get behind the decisions. I had a great acting coach that once said, "We judge ourselves by our intentions, but we judge others by their actions." Mm-hmm. Which was profound, because if you think about it, because other people's actions may not belie their intentions. Their intentions may have been really positive. Maybe they wanted to do the right thing. They just did it in the wrong way, and suddenly we have a conflict. And so I love that. I love that piece of advice. We judge ourselves by our intentions and others by their actions.
Definitely a good point.
Yeah.
And we are coming down to the end of the interview, and we have 2 famous questions.
Okay, great.
Is there a favorite board game or card game that you enjoy the most or enjoy playing with friends and family?
Okay, good question. Board game or card game? Well, the last game that I played was Jenga, which is neither a board or card
Good
game.
one.
but that was because it's physical too. You know, you're holding your breath, trying not to topple anything over. I enjoy Monopoly as well. If it doesn't go on too long, I never win, but I enjoy it.
And do you happen to have a favorite retro product that you grew up with or something you've always wanted?
Well, I haven't thought a lot about it, but now that you mention it, there was this thing. I was born in the early 70s, and I grew up with this. There was this snack that our mom would get us, and I think it was called a space stick or something. It was this chocolate stick. It looked like a Slim Jim, but it was chocolate, and it'd probably be disgusting today. But back then, I thought it was the coolest tasting thing. I felt like I was eating astronaut food when I was eating it. So the feeling and the imagination that went into that food was probably one of my favorite retro memories.
I'm trying to picture it. Part of it sounds delicious, part of it kind of sounds disgusting all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're probably right. You know, when I was a kid, it was all positive. But yeah, if I tried it now, I'm sure it'd be awful. But it was a great memory.
That's how I feel about. I mean, this was way back in the 80s, but they made Slimer candy based on Ghostbusters. They made
Slimer
candy, which was like Slimer juice, and then they did something similar when the Shrek films came out, and I'm like, yeah, that just tastes disgusting because it's just filled with sugar.
Exactly, and it's got gelatinous goo consistency, but it's sold like hotcakes to kids like us when we were that age.
Save your calories.
Right.
Like what my mother said, save your calories. And one last thing I had to mention is from when we were talking about Marvel and we were talking about George of the Jungle, I could definitely imagine. I mean, George is not Marvel, but I could definitely imagine that somehow George was sent to the void and he becomes like a George of the Jungle warrior. Like he has like a skull mask and he has like Mad Max Fury Road clothes on, kind of like what you would see in the void.
Oh my gosh, what an imagination. I love that. That's type that into an AI generator and you'll have the movie by this afternoon.
I'll just draw it traditionally because robots cannot replace a human. The true artist is an actual human. Like
I love it.
I illustrate and screenwrite.
Yes.
The ones that can make it happen.
Perfect. You are the generator. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I lost my I was an editor for quite some time, but then I lost it because of AI and
really?
And my coworker said, he was like, a robot cannot replace a human. The only artist is a human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Christopher, thank you again for joining today's episode and wish you luck with your acting.
Oh man, it was an honor. Thank you for reaching out.
You.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify and follow us on Instagram. See you next week.